Hello to Cremona, the citizens of Cremona. This is Paul Connet, Professor Paul Connet from the United States. I had hoped to be in Cremona on Sunday, but I'm afraid we had a mix-up with my time of arrival. So I'm recording this message from Binghamton, New York, and hopefully you can play this on Sunday, October the 27th, at your meeting. So I was asked to tell you about the 10 steps to zero waste. Incidentally, we have a book in Italian on this, which I've co-authored with Rossano Ercolini and Patricia Lasciotto. It's called Zero Waste, a Revolution in Progress. And right now, we've just released in America the expanded and updated version of this book with a different title. It's called The Zero Waste Solution, Untrashing the Planet, One Community at a Time. Now, the centerpiece of these books is the 10 steps to zero waste. There's nothing complicated about this. This is really common sense in action. Or I like to say, politics in action. So I'll go through the 10 steps fairly quickly. Step 1 is separation. These 10 things make waste, and we need everybody to unmake waste by separation, separating into a few simple categories. And step 2 is door-to-door collection, porter-a-porter collection, and of a fairly simple group of materials. The most important are the organics, the kitchen waste, the yard waste, because we need to collect those clean, and the only way we can get them clean is with porter-a-porter. And those clean organics will go to a composting facility to get this material back into the soil. Now, the value of composting is enormous. It not only gets valuable nutrients back into the soil, it holds on to water, it holds on to carbon. So this is a way of fighting global warming. If you were to burn this material in an incinerator, that carbon would immediately be carbon dioxide. But in compost, the bits of wood, cellulose, are held in the soil. And of course, the compost also stimulates more plant growth, which removes more carbon dioxide from the air. So all in all, composting is a very important thing to do. The fourth category, of course, is recycling. These are materials which go back to industry. And this industry is pretty well advanced in Italy. Now, we have over 200 communities in Italy getting over 70%, what we call raccolta differenziata, using these 10 steps to zero waste, at least those first 4 steps. Now, there's some more things that we can do. Step 5 is reuse and repair. This is reclaiming old furniture, old appliances, building materials, and using them again in the community, selling them back to the community. And we have well-established businesses in the United States which are doing this. The most famous, Urban Ore, O-R-E, in Berkeley, California. That's been running for 30 years. They've created 27 well-paid jobs, and they are making $3 million a year doing this. There's another operation in Burlington, Vermont, where in addition to everything else, they train people. They take people off the streets and train them to repair large appliances, small appliances, electrical goods, electronic goods. And after 9 months, they give them a certificate and help them to get a job. One of the things they're doing there is to take the wood, the old wood from old buildings, and making it into beautiful furniture. So that's called value added, to take the wood from old buildings and make it into furniture. So I think you can see there's lots of jobs and small businesses to be created out of the zero waste movement. In fact, somebody said incineration is one big black box, but zero waste is hundreds of little green boxes. Composting operations, recycling operations, collection operations, repair operations, reuse operations, and so on. Now, as far as the first 5 steps are concerned, San Francisco is doing all those things in the United States. This is a city of 850,000 people, and they are already up to 80% raccolta differenziata. I should warn you, however, they do include things like concrete and car bodies and things like that. So it isn't just domestic waste there. They include some industrial and commercial waste in their operations. But in Italy, you've got communities that are also over 70%, over 80%, and you're doing it very quickly. Well, the next few steps, 6, 7, and 8, deal with the residual fraction, the frazione residua, the material that we can't currently recycle. Now, for this, we need step 8, which is the most important step if we want to get close to zero waste. We can get to 70 or 80% without this, but if you really want to get to zero waste or close to it and really want to make a indent into the whole challenge of sustainability, then step 8 is crucially important. Step 8 is where community responsibility at the back end comes face to face with industrial responsibility at the front end. We have to say in our communities, if we can't reuse it, if we can't recycle it, if we can't compost it, then industry shouldn't be making it. Now, the way we go about setting this up is to build in front of the landfills, davanti di scarica, a separation facility for the residuals. The material can't go directly into the landfill. It has to go through this facility. And they're doing this right now successfully in Nova Scotia. And in this building, they pull out more recyclables, more toxic materials, and the dirty organic fraction is stabilized above ground in another composting operation. So when this material eventually goes into the landfill, it doesn't cause so many environmental problems. So into this facility, so I said these are running in Nova Scotia. Now what we want inside this facility is a zero waste research center where we involve local professors, students, and others who are interested in sustainability to study the non-recyclable fraction. And then the message to industry that we have to send is this: if we can't reuse it, if we can't recycle it, if we can't compost it, then industry shouldn't be making it. Hopefully you're going to hear from Rossano Ercolini from Capanari. They have set up a little zero waste research center, and they're very proud of it. And basically what we're doing here is we're copying nature's methods. Nature doesn't make waste. It's a human invention. To unmake waste, we need feedback mechanisms. And that's what nature does. We don't have feedback mechanisms. We have landfills and incinerators to make the residual fraction disappear. We need to make the residual fraction very, very visible, because these are our mistakes. These are our non-sustainable packaging and products, and we have to change that. And we can. You know, the first person to talk about zero waste in Italy was Leonardo da Vinci, who said there's no such thing as waste. And by this he meant that one industry's waste had to become another industry's starting material. So we need to copy nature then, with this feedback mechanism. And of course we need to do other things to reduce waste. And I noticed I've forgotten steps 6 and 7, so let me put in steps 6 and 7. We got up to step 5, which is reuse and repair. Step 6 is the pay-by-bag system. This is an effort to reduce the residual fraction, to educate the public. Now, in the compostables, the organic fraction, and the recyclable fraction, they are picked up without a surcharge. But the residual fraction The more you make, the more you pay. And this has proved extremely effective with citizens in terms of when they decide to purchase things, to avoid the things which go in that third container. In fact, in Villafranca d'Asti in Piemonte, they went from 70% raccolta differenziata up to 85% when they added on this step, the pay as you throw or pay by bag system. And the person that knows all about that and can come and talk to you about it is Roberto Cavallo. He's based in Asti, Roberto Cavallo. And step 7 is waste reduction initiatives, consciously reducing waste by individuals, by institutions, by companies. Let's start with institutions. Every school in Cremona, every college, every institute in Cremona that has a cafeteria, has a canteen, should switch over to glass and stainless steel and china. Get rid of the plastics. Some countries have banned certain plastic items like plastic bags. I've just been to Bangladesh. There they banned plastic bags, and it was wonderful going to the countryside and finding no bags cluttering up the waterways or the roadside. So that's exciting. And in Ireland, they put a tax on plastic shopping bags, and that went down, they went down by 92% in 1 year. And in Capaneri again, they're using reusable pannolini instead of disposable pannolini. So there's lots of waste reduction that we can do. And then going back to step 8, after we've got this research operation going, the Zero Waste Research Center, which can actually be located in 2 places. We can locate it in the Reuse and Repair Center to study the badly designed products, and in the residual separation facility with the badly designed packaging. So we can divide it into 2 places. And then step 9 follows from that. That's better industrial design. And then step 10, finally, is the final landfill, the temporary landfill, to take the currently non-recyclable materials and the dirty organic fraction. But that's going to go down and down and down as we get more successful with the zero waste approach. And what I like about this 10-step program is that it starts with everybody, these 10 fingers. But by the time we get to steps 8 and 9, the Zero Waste Research Center and better industrial design, we are challenging the brightest minds in our society to help us get to zero waste. The professors, the students, the designers, and others who are thinking about this. And we don't have to stop with zero waste. We can link zero waste with other sustainable activities, like sustainable agriculture. We need composting can feed into organic agriculture without pesticides and without genetic engineering. And it can feed into sustainable architecture, which you have plenty of in Cremona. And incidentally, thinking about it, I see the cello case in the background, which reminds me that some of the things that you made in Cremona maybe 400 years ago are still being played today. And we've got to go back to that attitude of, yes, there we are, go back to that attitude of looking after the materials that we're presented with on our planet. We've got to treat them very precious. Everything is precious. We've got to make them go round. We've got to make them last for our children and our grandchildren. And this zero waste approach is good for our communities because it helps to empower our communities. We have to control our waste, our resources. These are our resources, just as the water is our water, the food is our food. We've got to protect. Go back to the title of my book, Zero Waste Solution, Untrashing the Planet, One Community at a Time. Italy is a country of 9,000 communities, and that's where we've got to make the change. I don't hold out much hope for the central government in Italy, but I hold out a lot of hope for local leadership, especially when the citizens. Okay, so this 10 steps to zero waste is better for the economy, more jobs. It's better for our universities, more meaning. It's better for the environment, less toxics, less toxics from incinerators and landfills. It's better for our planet. It's more sustainable, and it's better for our children because we're offering them more hope. I mean, we keep telling our children the most depressing things about the future of our planet. We're telling them about global warming and ozone damage and the loss of forests and the loss of species and the contamination of the oceans with plastic and the contamination of our own babies. When they're born, they have toxics in their blood, our own babies. And we have to give hope to our children. And I think these 10 steps, starting with the community and involving everybody's involved. At the beginning, everybody's involved. But on the route, we're involving farmers. We're involving people that collect and separate. We're involving students. We're involving professors. We're involving designers. We're involving artists. We need to involve everybody because everybody has to be involved in this movement towards sustainability. And if we didn't have a waste crisis, I think we'd have to invent one, because the zero waste program gives us a way that the individuals like you and me and the people in the audience can connect to this challenge of sustainability. It's a big challenge, but we have to start with concrete actions. And the zero waste movement is the politics of concrete action.
Thank you very much. That's one sector.
No. It's been demonstrated in Italy that when you introduce a porta collection, you save money. You save money because you are not paying the tipping fee for the landfill or the tipping fee for the incinerator, and you're not shipping so much, so you're saving on transport, and then you're going to be making money on selling the recyclables and eventually selling the compost. And also it's better for the economy because you're creating jobs. So even if it was the same amount of money as incineration, you're still doing better because A, you're creating jobs and small businesses, and it's better for your farmers, but it's also better for everybody because you're moving in a sustainable direction. So I believe it saves money. It certainly saved money in places that I visited, and at the same time, it's a very good investment for the future.